Shalom, everyone. Some morning Torah. Rabbi Eric Solomon, Beth Meyer Synagogue. The Torah portion is called Miketz. This is part of the Joseph narrative, and I want to focus on one particular line in this particular parsha. Is Joseph has two kids, and one of them he names Menashe. Menashe, which the Torah explains means God has helped me forget the stories of my troubles, my troubled life. When I grew up with my father and my family, we know he had a lot of challenges. He wasn't such an easy kid, but his brothers were jealous of him. His father favored him. They ended up essentially sticking him in a pit. He had a very, very hard, early life, and that's how the story goes on. Real family strife, real difficulty, and not sure at this stage of the story whether it'll work out in this Torah portion. But the power is here, or the question really is, he looks at his own son, and he basically names his son you will make me forget, or God help me forget, all my troubles of my early life in your son. And this is, not an easy thing to call your son basically I want to forget in a person. It's it's not a very positive thing to tell your own son, that's first of all. But it's also he's looking at his son, he's going to, please God, see his son for the rest of his life. He's going to see him many times, and every time he sees him, he's going to call and calls him. It's about forgetting. So is that really going to help you forget, or is it actually going to remind you? I put this idea that when you look at a person, you both want to forget your history, but you also are forced to remember your history. Or some people look at a person, they see history. Some people don't see history or don't want to remember history. It's a unique experience of being Jewish right now. What I've discovered in recent times, certainly since October 7th, but really over the past couple of years, that there are certain people in the world that when they see Jews today, it appears that they've forgotten our history. They don't seem to understand or see the Jewish people as in any way vulnerable or have a history of vulnerability. It's yes, it's true. We are, thank God, by and large, part of the fabric of the United States of America, supported and protected by every aspect of government, police, law enforcement. But anti-Semitism is at an all-time, at least recent high. And then, of course, the attack in Israel. We have a state of Israel, thank God. But she's in great vulnerability, as evidenced by October 7th and other attacks that have occurred and continue to occur. Look at Hezbollah in the north. It's like the world looks at us, certain parts of the world, at the Jewish people and says, oh, I've forgotten their history. It's irrelevant. There's no history of vulnerability there. Whereas the Jewish people looks at ourselves and says, we're totally vulnerable. And even when things are going well, we remember our vulnerability all the time. I think when some people look at Jewish children, they think, oh, they're just other Jewish, maybe if they're light-skinned, white, part of the establishment, super secure, whatever. It's part of the class of Americans, to speak of America for a second, who's made it. And the Jewish community, we constantly see ourselves, not putting down our success as a community by and large, but we live in a place of vulnerability. There's a mismatch between certain people looking at the Jewish community, how we look at